A lot of people got it twisted. Hammer a gangster. You but Hammer.
I always wanted to know, because we spoke about it so many times, what was that MC Hammer era like in the West Coast?
I'm going to continue to do what I do. Whether they like it or not, I'm going to try to encourage kids to do the right thing. That doesn't mean that I live the perfect life. I'm telling them to stay away from the negative things so that they won't ruin their lives.
At 64, MC Hammer is living a life most fans wouldn't even recognize anymore. Back in his prime, he was everywhere. MTV, Pepsi ads, magazine covers, sold-out tours across the globe. He wasn't just making music, he was the moment, a full-blown brand, a symbol of what success looked like at its loudest. He stacked over $70 million, and for a while, it felt like the spotlight would never fade. But the rise was fast, and the fall hit just as hard. Now, his world looks nothing like those glittering stages he once controlled. The way it all came crashing down still stings, because people remember the flashy pants and that million-dollar smile, but they don't see the silence that followed when the lights shut off. Before the fame, before the mansions and private jets, there was Stanley Kirk Burrell, a driven young man from Oakland chasing something bigger than his surroundings. Before the name MC Hammer meant anything, he was out there grinding, selling mixtapes from his trunk, dancing on corners, making noise anywhere he could. He even worked as a bat boy for the Oakland A's, staying close to the action while plotting his own rise. He wasn't just dreaming about fame, he was building it step by step. Every handshake, every tape sold, every small performance pushed him forward. It wasn't luck, it was a movement in the making. Watching crowds cheer for others only made him hungrier, and deep down, he knew one day those same voices would be shouting his name just as loud. That belief, that non-stop drive, became the engine behind everything he touched once he finally cracked into the music world. Nobody handed him a deal. He earned it by outworking everyone around him. He studied the game, produced his own tracks, and turned his personality into a full brand before branding was even a thing.
Hammer! He put me in the mix! Hammer! He put me in the mix! I saw Hammer in, let me tell you something. I saw Hammer in concert. It was a free, my boy had a ticket. He said, yo, you wanna go see Hammer? Hammer, because I'm like, you know, I'm Wu-Tang, I'm all this. I'm like, Hammer? And Hammer was getting messed with by rappers, all kinds of different rappers. Right. And I said, let me go to see Hammer, man. Let me tell you something. Yep. He danced from the beginning to the end. Didn't stop. No. It was one of the greatest concerts I had ever seen in my life.
His early projects like Let's Get It Started set the stage. But what came next changed everything. Then came Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em in 1990. And it didn't just blow up, it took over completely. The album went diamond, moving over 10 million copies in the US alone. Tracks like You Can't Touch This and Pray weren't just songs. They were everywhere, instantly stuck in people's heads. Kids copied his dance moves, adults couldn't get enough of the sound. And suddenly rap hit a whole new audience. Hammer broke barriers, pulling hip-hop into the mainstream when others stayed in their lanes. But it wasn't just the music. It was how he carried himself. He smiled while others stayed serious, rocked bright colors while the scene leaned dark, and brought a different kind of energy that stood out fast. He pushed positivity, faith, and a family-friendly vibe into a space that didn't usually show it. That made him relatable, exciting, and easy for everyone to support. Parents trusted him, kids looked up to him, and major brands jumped in. KFC even teamed up with him at his peak. At one point, he was pulling in over $30 million a year. Sold-out tours, endless deals, platinum records stacking up, it all came fast. And his shows? They weren't basic concerts. They were huge productions with dancers, fireworks, and sharp choreography that changed what rap performances could look like forever.
On one of my albums, I made fun of him because, you know, we joke, and I said something about his mom. Like, oh, give his mom. So he was in the Bay Area with his boy, and you know, I'm at this club, and all of a sudden, Hammer comes in with 100 people. And we are usually never afraid of anything. Hammer comes up to me and goes, listen, I'm a fan of yours. I think you're so talented, but nobody talks about my mama. You understand that? He goes, Mr. Hammer, I'm sorry. I apologize. I love the Bay Area, and I want to keep coming back. Don't ever mess with MC Hammer. Show him respect. Yeah, oh yeah.
He wasn't chasing trends, he was setting them. In just a few years, Hammer went from Oakland streets to global superstardom, moving at a pace most people couldn't even imagine. But behind the cheers and flashing cameras, a quiet problem was starting to grow. Fame can teach you how to perform, how to inspire, how to stay sharp under pressure, but it almost never teaches you when to slow down. And for MC Hammer, slowing down was never part of the plan. He didn't just live big, he lived like royalty. In Fremont, California, he built a massive 40,000 square foot mansion that looked more like a palace than a home. Golden gates shining under the sun, marble floors glowing beneath huge chandeliers, waterfalls flowing through perfectly kept gardens, even a pool shaped like his own initials, MC Hammer. It was all unreal. But that level of luxury came with a heavy cost, draining money every single day. Just maintaining the place cost around $500,000 a year, and that was only the start. The biggest expense wasn't the mansion, though, it was people. Out of loyalty and care, he hired over 200 individuals. Bodyguards, dancers, family members, old friends, even people from his neighborhood. Some had real jobs, others were there because he couldn't bring himself to say no. His monthly payroll shot up to nearly $1 million. That's more than many artists made in a full year. But for him, it wasn't about showing off. It was about lifting others up and making sure nobody around him got left behind.
No, Hammer's a gangster, huh?
Right.
Here's the
Pumps in the
conversation.
bump, boy, like, nigga, you can laugh if you want to,
Right,
my
it
nigga,
just-
but that nigga...
Oh, he made a lot of niggas apologize. A lot of niggas
Straight
from this
up.
coast have apologized. I said,
I didn't just take the money to bless myself, he once said. I used it to employ my community. That mindset was real. His generosity came straight from the heart. But when there are no limits, even good intentions can turn risky fast. He spent big, luxury cars, over-the-top tours, first-class trips for his entire crew. His shows were on another level, packed with 50 dancers, live bands, and explosive effects, all paid out of his own pocket. For a moment, Hammer wasn't just an artist, he was like a one-man economy keeping everyone around him going. But the 90s hit, and the industry shifted hard. Gangster rap took over, and fans started leaning toward raw, street-driven sounds. Hammer's upbeat, family-friendly style suddenly felt out of place. The spotlight started to fade, but the spending didn't slow down. By 1996, it all caught up with him. Facing around $13 million in debt, he filed for bankruptcy. Just like that, the empire collapsed. The mansion, the cars, the lifestyle, all slipping away. And it wasn't just about money, it hit emotionally, publicly, and in a way that was tough to ignore.
I will tell you that MC Hammer is the best rapper ever. If you ask me, does he have the best bars? Nope.
Of course
If you
not.
ask me if Hammer was the best dancer ever, I would say absolutely not.
Right.
If you ask me if that nigga got the bag, found everybody that he loved, took all of them niggas with him,
Yeah.
changed 50 to 100 niggas' lives, and then rode off into the sunset, Hammer is the greatest rapper ever.
When the news dropped, the media didn't hold back. Comedians joked, tabloids took shots, and critics who once praised him flipped the script and called him careless. Even inside the industry, things went quiet. People who once chased his approval, producers, promoters, artists, suddenly disappeared and stopped picking up the phone. For someone who once felt untouchable, the silence was loud. That kind of quiet rejection hit even harder than losing money. It wasn't just about being broke. It was about losing respect, losing identity, losing everything he thought defined him. In later interviews, Hammer got real about that time. Being broke wasn't the worst part, he said. Losing who I thought I was, that was. That wasn't just a quote. It was him opening up completely. The fame, the power, the people around him, it had all been built on a version of himself that vanished when the spotlight disappeared. Suddenly he had to face who he was without the cheers, without the attention. People who once relied on him for money or access, gone overnight. The house that used to be packed with dancers, assistants, and family turned quiet in a way that felt unsettling. For someone used to constant movement and noise, that silence hit different. He later admitted, "You find out who's real when the money's gone." And that truth changed how he saw everything. He realized how quickly support can turn conditional once the spotlight fades. But that wasn't the end of his story. Years later, as people looked back, a different conversation started to grow online. On Reddit, one user wrote, "He wasn't wasteful, he was generous to a fault." Another posted on Twitter, "MC Hammer didn't go broke buying cars, he went broke feeding families." Those words spread fast, shifting how people saw him, from someone to laugh at to someone people respected for what he tried to do. His downfall wasn't about greed or ego, it came down to loyalty. The same loyalty that cost him millions also showed exactly who he was at his core. It may have crushed his empire, but it revealed his heart in a way money never could. By the early 2000s, the spotlight was completely gone. The man once known for those iconic gold pants was now dealing with lawsuits over unpaid car payments and messy business deals. It was a sharp fall, no way around it, but somehow he kept pushing forward.
Doing what I'm doing. I've even had a record company, and I don't want to lambaste nobody's name or anything, but they told me, Hammer, you know what the problem is? You're a little too clean. Here's what we're going to do. Why don't you start to do a few things that maybe dirty up your image a little bit. Maybe we can sell a little more records. I've had all that. I told them, that's not me. I lived that life. I've been around with people involved in that.
Then came a powerful moment in 2011 during an interview with Oprah Winfrey. MC Hammer looked back at everything, the rise, the crash, and didn't dodge a single part of it. No excuses, no blame. And when asked if he would change anything, his answer stopped people cold. Would I go back and change things? No. If I change one thing, I lose everything else. The kids I have now, the relationships I have now, the peace I have now. That wasn't just reflection. That was clarity earned the hard way. He stopped tying his worth to money or fame. Instead, he saw life differently. Less about status, more about growth through struggle. He learned the hard way that value doesn't come from a bank account. Still, even with that peace, the past doesn't just disappear. Even after embracing faith, forgiveness, and humility, the scars didn't just vanish. People close to him have said Hammer still dealt with quiet regret, not about the money or fame, but about the sense of purpose that came with it. When you've lived in non-stop motion, cameras flashing, crowds roaring, stepping into that kind of silence hits hard. He had to adjust to a completely different rhythm. He once described it as walking in the dark, not lost, but learning to trust the steps. That kind of growth doesn't come from money, it comes from going through it. His journey became less about fame and more about figuring out who he really was without it. Then came a moment that changed everything. In 1997, Hammer said he experienced a spiritual awakening, a visitation, as he described it, from Jesus Christ himself. That moment shifted his entire path in a way nobody expected. After years of chaos and collapse, he stepped onto a different kind of stage, one without bright lights or screaming fans. That same year, he was ordained in the Church of God in Christ, committing his life to faith and service. What started as something personal quickly became public. Every Sunday night, he led hip-hop style worship services at Jubilee Christian Center in Northern California. The same voice that once said, "Too legit to quit," was now lifted in praise. The flashy outfits, gold chains, and big entourages were gone, replaced by a simple red blazer, black slacks, and a Bible in his hand. The same charisma that once packed arenas was now filling a church. Hammer stood in front of crowds again, but this time, he was preaching about redemption, about rising after failure, about second chances money could never buy. "God had to take my money away to get my heart," he told the congregation, a line that hit deep and became the core of his message. Week after week, people kept showing up. Teenagers, families, even longtime fans who once danced to his music. Now they came searching for something real. They weren't just there to see a celebrity turned preacher. They believed what he was saying. The energy he once gave to fame was now poured fully into his ministry, and it showed. His words carried weight because he had lived through the struggle he spoke about. That authenticity caught attention fast. Before long, Trinity Broadcasting Network gave him his own Christian talk show. His first guest, Smokey Robinson, another legend who understood both fame and faith. Together, they talked about redemption, music, and what comes after everything falls apart. This wasn't the same performer from before. This was a man changed, steady, and focused on something deeper. But even with all that growth, the world didn't fully move on. For many, he was still labeled as the rapper who lost it all. That old image stuck, often overshadowing the bigger story he was trying to live out. MC Hammer didn't just rebuild his life, he rebuilt his soul. And in the process, he found something way deeper than fame could ever offer. Fast forward to today, and he's living a calm, private life in the Bay Area. He's out of the spotlight, but definitely not sitting still. He stepped into the tech world early, investing in Silicon Valley startups like Bump Technologies and Square before they blew up. That move alone showed he was thinking ahead in a whole new way. He now mentors young creators, gives motivational talks, and every now and then pops out for throwback performances. But it's not like before. No big crews, no wild production, just Hammer, a mic, and fans shouting, "You can't touch this," right back at him. His lifestyle is simple now: smaller home, tighter circle, clear priorities, faith, family, and gratitude. On social media, he shares Bible verses and positive messages. One post said it best: faith, family, focus. Everything else is noise. That's the energy he's on now, but a lot of people still get it wrong. Some tabloids label his life as sad because they don't understand why someone would step away from that level of fame. They see less money and assume failure, but for him, it's freedom. Still, not everything has been smooth. The jokes didn't fully stop. For years, late-night shows and magazines turned his story into a punchline, pushing the image of a star who lost it all. Even phrases like "going hammer broke" started popping up, keeping that old narrative alive. What most people never stopped to see was the real person behind the jokes. Hammer himself admitted that being the punchline hurt more than people realized. He spent years trying to rebuild not just his money, but his dignity. He once said it felt strange to become a meme built from your own pain, watching your hardest moments turned into entertainment. But instead of snapping back or holding on to anger, he chose a different path. He stayed humble while people laughed, kept smiling while old headlines kept resurfacing. At one point, he even tweeted a joke: "Can't touch this wisdom." That one line said everything about who he had become: aware, calm, and unshaken. That mix of humor and quiet strength became his shield. It helped him move forward without constantly defending himself, without letting the past trap him. Still, even with that mindset, there's a lingering frustration in how people choose to remember him. Most people still picture the dancer, the millionaire, the flashy outfits, the huge stage shows with dozens of performers. But far fewer remember the father, the husband, the preacher, the man who used his success to support hundreds and help his community. It says a lot about how success gets measured. Too often it's about money and image, not character. And that's what makes his story hit deeper than music. It reflects how quickly people get judged once the spotlight fades. Maybe that's the quiet tragedy in MC Hammer's story. The fact that he found wisdom, grace, and real purpose, yet people still judge him by the fortune he once had. Even decades after his fall, his impact hasn't faded at all. On TikTok, "You Can't Touch This" is still everywhere, used in millions of videos. Kids who weren't even alive during his peak are now dancing to his sound. Big names like Usher, Bruno Mars, and Chris Brown have all pointed to him as inspiration. His style, mixing dance, rap, and bold stage energy, helped shape what modern performers look like today. He didn't just make music you hear, he made something you see. Even his fashion keeps coming back. Those iconic Hammer pants pop up again and again, bringing that wave of nostalgia from a time when music felt loud, fun, and fearless. But his real legacy goes deeper than hits, outfits, or money. It's about who he was as a person. A man who gave to others, who took a hard fall, got back up, and found peace in a way most people never do. He once said, "Success isn't when the world claps for you. It's when you can look in the mirror and smile." That line says everything about his journey. So when people say, Remember MC Hammer? How he lives at 64 is just sad. They might be missing the bigger picture. It's really about how success gets measured. He lost millions, but gained something deeper. He lost fame, but found faith. He lost everything money could buy and discovered what it never could. What looked like sadness to the outside world became his path to real peace. He doesn't need applause anymore to feel alive. The same man who once shook stadiums with cheers now finds purpose in quiet prayers. He learned that real wealth doesn't come from record sales, it comes from redemption. And in a world obsessed with comebacks, maybe MC Hammer's biggest win was realizing he didn't need one. He didn't have to chase the spotlight again, he just had to find himself again. So yeah, some people might still call his story sad, but if you look closer, it hits completely different. It's powerful, it's real. Because he didn't just survive fame, he grew past it. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Sometimes the loudest success shows up after everything goes quiet. If this story made you see things differently, make sure you like, subscribe, share this with someone, and drop a comment with your thoughts below.